Hello and welcome to another Coffee with Phil photo review recap weekly challenge video. I am happy to be here and happy to have you here watching live, watching the replay, and excited to be looking at some amazing wide angle photos. So I'm going to dive pretty much right into it, but notice this background right here, the yellow, that kind of matches the plus yellow, right? That's pretty cool. I've been filming some new stuff and I'm super excited about it. I teased it last week. Officially, we are launching it as the Photo Dash Challenge photography game and been recording some videos for it, editing. Gonna be putting out a first 3-part series in the coming weeks, and then I have gotten Will to accept the challenge to battle me in the Photo Dash game. So we're gonna be coming out after this first 3-part solo challenge with a head-to-head competition between me and him. A lot of fun details to be coming soon for that, so stay tuned for that. And then the only other thing I'll mention before I get right into the photos. I know last week we had a ton of photos and it took a while, so I want to get to the photos. But I got the weekly photo challenges book printed out just from Amazon. Now we had I posted it, and every so often I can put it for free. I can't put it for free all the time, but it's like once every quarter of the year I can put it for free, and I'll do that next time I can do that. But when we launched this, we had it for free as the ebook, but the print book's pretty cool. It's nice. I don't know. I mean, I could imagine if I was new to doing the weekly challenges and to photography, it might be kind of cool to take this around. You can get the paperback or the hardback like this, write your notes in it, and you get a sneak peek at all of the upcoming weekly challenges. So it's always fun to see, something that you work on in physical form and not just in this digital space. So I was excited to get that. But anyways, I'm going to get to the photos, but welcome everyone. Welcome to people here live. Marcel, Suzanne, Eric, Bill. I'm so happy to have you here. Let me open up my chat so I can see. Hi, Marcel. How's it going? I'm wearing this cool shirt that I got in Tokyo. Tokyo. We went to Disney Sea over there, and we thought, oh, there's going to be like a ton of cool Japanese Disney merch. Nope, it was just like all the same stuff that you get over here. So we went to the Disney store where close to where we were staying in Shinjuku, and they had this sort of DIY. You could like choose the print and then the size, and they print it there for you. So it's a white shirt, and I'm very careful to wear it because I have 3 little kids, and yeah, basically I can't wear this around them because it's going to get dirty. All right. Anyways, how's everyone doing this week? Let me know in the comments what's new. I don't know. Let me know if you've seen any of the Oscar-nominated movies, or you're watching a new TV show that you're liking, because I'm kind of in like a TV show rut. Like I just there's nothing that I'm currently watching that's super interesting to me. So, anyways, give me some inspiration while I look at your guys' photos. So let's open this. And last week we had another big turnout for our weekly challenges. It's super exciting to see so many people here in the space. And what I'm going to be doing today is I'm actually going to be reversing it. So the past couple of weeks I've started at the top, which is basically the order that you put your post your photos. Now I'm gonna go with the latest ones, and we'll scroll up. Hopefully that works out well. So I'm gonna get right into it. We had a question in the community. Pause 1 second. Grab your coffee, grab your tea, whatever, before we get into it. But we had a question in the community about like what does the wide angle photo challenge mean, and that's a great question. I think for any of these prompts, there's some that are a little bit more obvious of like, I don't know, frame within a frame or something like that. And maybe to you, wide angle seemed obvious, but I think it's a good question. And to me, there's not really a right or wrong answer. It's just, to me, it's a wide angle photo challenge is I'm looking for photos where using the wide angle helps tell the story of that photo or helps make that photo better. It's maybe a necessary lens to use to capture that shot. And then there's perhaps something about it that enhances that photo and makes it a good one. So hopefully it inspired you to go grab your wide lens or zoom out to your widest focal length, or even use your phone if you don't have a wider lens. So let's just start going through some of these, and we will start with Steven Winkler's photo here, which is a great example to start out with because not only is it a wide lens photo, you can tell that they shot at a wide angle because you can see that you are, as the photographer, kind of close to the frame or what's in the frame. You can see that like the edges and the bottom of this frame, you're not standing 100 feet away. You're probably 5-10 feet away from the bottom of this frame. And then they also cropped it at a wide panoramic aspect ratio, which is super cool. I love this photo. The colors are epic. The edit to silhouette, these details here is epic. Beautiful, beautiful photo. No critiques on that one. That's great. Great example to get us started. Todd mentions that the image that you used was chosen on Viewbug for the community award. That's awesome. All right, Kristen. It's a cool shot, cool wide shot, great time of day. I'm wondering if you shot with a phone because the details, I can tell like there's just not that many details in the clouds and the water. I would have taken this into editing and warmed everything up just to sort of enhance that sunset, maybe sunrise. I'm assuming the sunset effect. But I love seeing like these the color, the light rays kind of peeking through the clouds here. And the framing is great, perfectly centered. This is one where you probably could have taken the shot with a telephoto lens and kind of just cropped right here on the sun and the reflection of the sun, which would be a really cool photo. But being able to see the whole scene is cool. And it's also one where you probably could have cropped it at a more panoramic frame and it would look cool. I wish there was a little bit more detail in the clouds and in the water and warmed it up a little bit, maybe brighten it up just a little bit, brighten up those shadows, but really cool shot. And thank you, Marcel, for being so active. And I see many of you as well. Nancy, Rubrecht, just sharing your thoughts with people who have posted your photos. I appreciate that. And I'm sure all the new photographer members here really appreciate it. So this is a photo from Peter. And again, a great example of the use of a wide angle lens because you get this whole little pond thing and then you get the foreground elements of the grasses around it, beautiful reflection of the clouds in the sky, nice colors in the sky in the distance. Very cool photo. I love that. Trying to think if there's anything I would do. Like, I probably would have played around with it, played around with the color of the sky, warming up the sky, cooling it down. I kind of like the balance of having like the warmth in the sky, the warm clouds, the dark and the blues. I can tell you did a little bit of clarity or something to really sharpen up and add texture and details to these plants, which is cool. It's kind of almost got like a HDR effect or something like that. So very cool photo. Katie Warren posted this photo. Nice wide angle. It's a little dark. I would say that I would boost the exposure for overall. I'm also wondering if the framing could have been a touch different. Like I see this log here in the bottom right corner. I don't know what's in front of that log between you and this log, but that log is kind of like a nice focal point that could help with framing the subject, which is kind of this building. Also, to me, it kind of feels like this could be a nice photo where this building, this little outhouse thing, is maybe pushed a little bit to the left and it's more of a rule of thirds photo rather than centered. To me, that might feel a little bit more balanced. So I think overall, just the framing could have been played with, and then boost those the shadows just to see a little bit more details. It's just a little dark, but otherwise it's a nice photo. And I think there's a lot of potential here in editing to make this photo look awesome. Speaking of editing, I got a message from a member who was asking about maybe changing up the challenges or adding another challenge where we do photo editing challenges, and how maybe we could all edit the same photo and see how each other edits. And I was like, yeah, we used to do that. We used to do exactly that. That is a great idea. I love it. I love editing, and I think it's a great way for people to learn how to edit photos, is to see what other people do with the same photo. So maybe we can get to doing that. I'm kind of happy. I'm really excited now because I'm dedicating a day basically to being able to do these live streams and get it all, do the weekly challenges. And in the future, my kids are going to be extending their day at school for another hour or two, which might give me enough time and headspace to add another type of challenge like that. Also, just to tease or just to share, I've been I chatted with Will and Sam, but I chatted with Will this week, and he's definitely down to get in here and do some Q&As and be a part of the live streams. He's just been super busy with some really cool work that he's doing. All right, William Chow with these fireworks, iPhone 13. Whoa. That is a crazy photo. Dang, that is a really cool photo. I was just reading about it. I mean, the fact that there was this water here that just perfectly creates this reflection is really cool. And I love the gradient of like the brightness to a little bit darkness and the red, pinkish red to the blue. It does look like a starry sky. And I love that, like, this was William had the creative mind to be like, I'm going to back up and get a photo of the people watching this with this puddle. And maybe there were other people capturing this shot too, but most people here snapping a shot of just like the sky with the fireworks. Cool, probably a cool photo too, but this one is like next level cool. Definitely needed to use the wide angle lens on the iPhone to capture this whole scene. Really cool photo. Very inspirational. Gianluca. This is in the Vatican with the Swiss guards. That is a cool photo. It's like kind of cool that they are blurred. And let's see, your settings were 0.4 second shutter, f3.2, ISO 500. Gianluca definitely could have probably boosted the ISO. I'm not sure what that, oh yeah, f1.7. You probably could have opened up the aperture, let in some more light so that you didn't have to have that slow shutter speed and get this blur. Not sure if it was a conscious decision or just a happy accident that it made it look like this, which is kind of like a cool effect and makes it almost more artistic. And framing it with the wide angle lens so that you see this whole building is nice. This is one where I like the framing of the subjects in the center of the photo, all the leading lines of, you know, this pathway, even the molding up here on the building. It's all these lines that are drawing your eye to the center of the frame. So very cool photo. And Marcel, just to comment on your comment in the chat, which everyone watch tuning in live, let me know if you're where you're tuning in from. I love hearing about where people are tuning in from in the chat. But yeah, the community is very active right now, and a lot has to do with being able to switching from the Facebook group officially to here and inviting our students here. And it kind of, I was telling Will about this on our phone call. I was like, I think we get a little bit used to the fact that like we've been doing this for so long and almost feeling like, well, there's a lot of our students who have been doing it for 5-10 years with us, and they might not need the engagement that we're trying to do with the community. But then I see all these new students and new members and the existing members who've been here for years still participating. But really it's the new members who breathe some extra life into it that gets me super excited. And yeah, just excited that to see the engagement too. All right, this is Chong Ka Min. Cool clouds. I would straighten out that horizon. It's just slightly off, I think. I'm almost wondering if I would have just shown the sky in this one. Sometimes I like seeing, the land, the horizon, just to give you a sense of where you're at as a viewer. But the sky is so pretty that like just the sky kind of would create this abstract look. But regardless, I would have just straightened that out. But that sky is really cool. Maybe kind of boost that contrast or clarity. Something like that, just to pull out some more detail, do a little dehaze. But it was shot on the iPhone, so you're not going to get I don't know which iPhone you're using, but some of the older iPhones don't have as much detail. You can't pull out as much detail, but they're so good nowadays. Here's Tali with the iPhone 13 mini with this photo. Here's one where you really did boost that contrast, the clarity, the texture detail, and made it that sort of HDR-y kind of look, which I think is cool. I would have probably boosted the exposure overall just a little bit. But this is a super cool photo, and I like that you framed it. I do like the way that you framed it, looking down this waterway. Could I have maybe pushed it a little bit more to the right and lost this house on the left and been able to see the path on the right? I don't know. Maybe that would have been interesting, but I think the way you framed it's pretty balanced. Could I have also just pushed it to the left a little bit and lost this wall thing that's here that's kind of like distracting to my eye? Maybe. You could have also, I don't know what's going on to the left, or if you walk down, with the sky, what it would have looked like just looking straight on at these houses with like just a perfectly flat symmetrical look with the reflections and everything. That might have looked cool, but all just picky things that I'm saying that you could have done because this is a really cool photo. Pushing whatever the setting you use to kind of push that contrast or that HDR look, the clarity, could have maybe toned that down just a little bit or balanced it with boosting the darks to increase the exposure of the darks or the shadows just a little bit. It's a little bit too contrasty for me, but I do like the vibe that you're going for. Bill, good point about no. I need to set up these notifications earlier. It was kind of a spur of the moment thing that I was like, I think I have time today to do it because this week was a little bit busier than last week, but I was like, no, I need to do it. I'm not going to give up after 2 weeks. So yes, I want to make a point to schedule it further ahead of time so that I think there's probably not a lot of people watching it live because it was so last minute. So yes, but yes, I want to do that, and that's a good point. Brihal Patel. This is a cool. Where was this? Yeah, it looks like Mexico. The Chichen. It's these great pyramids. Really cool photo. Also a great photo where you need a wide angle lens to be standing so close to it and get that whole thing. I probably would have just, I'm not sure if you could have stood closer or something to just make this a little bit more symmetrical, like lose this little fence post, whatever this thing is over there. Like that's something you could remove with AI, just get rid of it. But it is just a little distracting. But and I'm kind of like curious what's a little bit over to the left for me. And this is just for me. This is, I'm saying all these things, but everyone has their own opinions and preferences for what a photo looks like. And so just take everything I say with a grain of salt. But yeah, I would probably have just centered it so it's perfectly centered and symmetrical in the frame. But otherwise, the edit's cool. There's not much you can do with the sky being so gray. It kind of adds to the vibe of what the day was like. So really cool photo. Mirella, you asked about watching the recordings. Yes, if you go back to the, I don't want to open it up now because I'm going to lose my place. But if you go to the live sessions and replays page, down below, you'll see all the past recordings, or you'll have to switch to the tab for past recordings or past events, and it will be there along with last week's as well. Also, pro tip, you can also watch some of the replays of the Q&As that we had a year plus ago, where Sam and Will and I were doing more like weekly replays, weekly live sessions, and you can do it. You can watch those still over there. Claudia with this cool photo from the Scottish Highlands. I wonder what lens you shot this with. I almost want it to be a little wider, but it's an awesome photo. That leading line going down. I think like you could have brightened things up, maybe framed out this parking sign over here. Might have been good. Maybe you could have stood like right over the center line and maybe gotten a little bit down or tilted down just to lose a little bit of the sky and get a little bit more of the street or something. But cool photo. I think the street is such a cool shape that I almost want to see more of it. So it's like you have to almost like get higher and point down. Like an aerial shot would be really cool, but or crouch down a little bit so you feel like you're right there on the street. But that's just a picky thing. I don't even know. Like sometimes I say these things and it might just not be an option when you're there to film it like that, photograph it like that. But for this photo, I would just boost the shadows just a little bit, just so we can see a little bit more details. It just feels a little dark in the shadows, but otherwise, cool photo. Jose posted this photo of St. Augustine's Night of Lights. Canon R5, 16 millimeter. Nice. That's a cool photo. Lovely spot to stand to take this photo. I'm sure you were there kind of trying to figure out what should I do. There's these palm trees that are right in the middle of it. I kind of like that you framed it so that the palm trees aren't blocking these towers. I'm curious. I would want to be here just to see all the different options for how to take this photo. But I think I like the way you framed it and where you framed it, because it's not just about the building, which is cool, but it's about these hedges and the paths with all the lights that adds so much to this photo. It's the story of this photo. It's the Nights of Lights, magical time of year. Great. Yeah, just really cool positioning, and you almost feel like you're right there. And that's what's cool about a wide angle photo, is like, because it almost looks, depending on the focal length, it almost looks similar to how your eye sees things, or it just, you are so close to the framing of it or what's in the frame that it feels like you're almost standing right there. So cool. Great photo, great edit, perfect exposure captured, and perfect edit. All right, Marcel on the hot seat. This year I'm doing a ecology, 1 camera, 1 lens, 1 year. That's cool. I like that. I hadn't heard that before. Is that like a thing? Ecology. All right, so this is your photo. Ooh, that's a cool photo. Really cool. I love the edit. I love the contrast and the exposures and the shadow where some of it's silhouetted, framing, you know, this building. Some of it you see a little bit more detail, and then in the background, it's not just that it's like foggy, but it's probably a little bit of the exposure maybe there or in editing where it creates this sort of foggy, hazy background, kind of mysterious building in the background, and really good edit. I love the framing of it centered, and I think the crop works really well too. I think if you would have, I don't know what the full photo looks like, maybe if you have more headroom on the top or on the bottom, but I feel like the crop works because this tree frames the building in a nice way. If it was much wider, or if there's more room at the top, it might have just felt like this tree was blocking the view. And so I think you did a really good job at cropping it this way. And again, with the foreground at the bottom too, is just a nice natural frame of this building in the background. Yeah, really cool photo. Love it. Good job. All right, off the hot seat. Tanya. Shot with the Nikon 3200, 18 to 55 millimeter lens. Oh, I saw it small and I thought it was the Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco, but it's the Tagus River in Lisbon. And I know there's a connection between that bridge and this Golden Gate Bridge. I don't know if it was the exact same builder or architect or something. You can correct me if you know the answer. But yeah, something about it's a very similar style of bridge, and it's very cool. Nice wide angle, nice wide crop. I probably would have just cropped out this post right here. It just feels like it's something on the edge that I want to see or I want to crop out. The blue's very nice. It's a very bright photo. I like that, as you probably can tell, because I'm always telling people to boost the exposure a little bit. But you could have also maybe brought down the highlights just a little bit, just to have a little bit more contrast. It's all kind of one exposure. But nice, just a nice view. Very nice photo. If you want to get a little creative with it, you could have like pinpointed that red and boosted just the red saturation a little bit to make it kind of pop a little bit more. But I don't know. It's a nice photo. Nice angle too. Maybe you could have either cropped this out or just like, I don't know what it looks like to the left, pan to the left just a little bit, but I don't know. Looks nice. Cool. I was in Lisbon in October, and it was for a Udemy instructor summit thing where the Udemy team gets together with instructors and talks about, you know, how to make the platform better, all that kind of stuff. It's always a good time. We hadn't had a in-person meetup for Udemy instructors since 2019 maybe. Yeah, it had been like 5 years. All right, Anita with this photo. Lovely wide angle photo. Nice setting. Nice framing with the tree, the wall, everything looks good. Snow looks a little blue. Maybe would have like touched that up a little bit. The sky looks fine. So either like a little in Lightroom, like a linear gradient of the bottom half of the frame, and just like warming it up just a bit, or white balancing to that snow could help with that, but not terrible. Even if it was just more on these rocks, and I know sometimes, like in reality, things look cool, a little cooler, bluer when there's snow, and these rocks don't have a lot of warmth to them. But I think the camera did choose sort of if it was on auto white balance, it chose a white balance that's a little cooler than reality. But really cool photo. Nice job. Today or the past couple of days, it snowed up in the mountains near me in Los Angeles, and I actually haven't gotten out today yet, but it's like my favorite day of the year, where you can see the snow up on the mountains. The sky is clean after the rain, and yeah, we really needed that rain here. All right, Brenna with this photo. Big tall tree, sun in the background, the dog over here. Let's see. There's some things I would do with this photo. I think I don't know if I like the sun right behind the tree, and I want to see the dog. So I feel like if you could have got this photo with the dog in a different location, which, dogs aren't the best at listening to instructions, but if the dog was closer, it would have been a cool photo to like have this super wide photo with this dog kind of close up, but then you see this full setting. I don't mind the silhouetting of the tree. I'm realizing my monitor is a little dark, so let me brighten it up just a little bit. It's just one of those photos where I'm like, it's hard for me to know exactly what to look at. I mean, the tree is probably, it's the main focus, right? It's the biggest thing. It's tall. It stands out from the background. You got these nice, the grass in the foreground, and with a wide angle lens, everything is in focus, which is another thing when you think about using a wide angle lens or wanting to capture something with a wide angle lens. Sometimes you want to do that because it has such a deep depth of focus, and you can focus on something that's a couple feet away to infinity, basically. So yeah, I think I just like would be interested in this setting if like you were maybe to the right a little bit more, and that tree was more a rule of thirdsy on the left side of the frame. I don't know though. I like the detail in the grass though. I think just I want to see your pup closer to the frame. That's my main critique. All right, let's see. Very posted this photo. New challenge, new photo. Thanks again, Very, for sharing your photos on Instagram and tagging us so that I see them. Now, this is a great example of, like, again, that super close up focus where it's not in focus necessarily, but like you are right, your camera is right next to this curb, and you can see, it just feels like you're right there. And I think with this photo is just that leading lines on the colors from the lights, and then the lines all focusing on this subject that's in the distance. Now the subject, this person here, they're so far away that they like, you kind of lose out them being like an integral part of this photo, making it good or not. It's kind of like, it's just so far away, but it kind of works perfectly because the person here is like right at the midpoint, almost at the midpoint of the photo, but right at the midpoint of these leading lines. And maybe that's what would have made this a little bit better for me, is cropping a little of this curb out, kind of like lifting the photo and just framing it so that this person's exactly in the middle of the frame, and just losing, a little tiny bit, 10-20% of this curb down at the bottom, I think would have made this a little bit better. But I love the location, the lights, the reflection of the light and colors on this wet curb or the street is very cool. Very cool, very. All right, let's keep on trucking along. Anthony E.
while backed against the wall. So it sounds like Anthony E was as far away as possible. This is a really cool photo. Long exposure at night, seeing where's the flow of traffic. Very cool. And I think you probably made a conscious decision to pan to the right a little bit to see down the street rather than just squaring it off. I think you could have like looked directly across the street at this building so that it was more like symmetrical. But I think this is a case where it actually works well, where you can see down the street and you see all the lights coming at you. I mean, this is just a really creative, cool photo. Nice edit. Nice exposures to being able to see the street below. You probably brought up the shadows just a bit. Just, yeah, really cool photo. Love this one. That's one of my favorites from today so far. All right, Margaret. Margaret on the hot seat. Ooh, this is a fun edit. What lens is this? Oh, with the Lensbaby Trio. What is that one? On the sweet setting. Is that a lens that creates that sort of optical? Yeah, it has that optical effect. That is cool. That is a really cool photo. I want that lens now. It's just a really cool photo. It has that dream-like quality, almost like you've probably seen those movies where it's that POV of the person who's dreaming or something, and just a very cool photo. That'd be a fun lens to play around with. I love the edit. I love like the softness of the colors and the contrast. It's not too contrasty, and I actually like the vignetting, and maybe that's from the lens, maybe it's in the editing, but it's very cool. Mirella, yeah, just to answer your question, long exposure meaning slow shutter speed. Yeah, same thing. When you slow down your shutter speed, it means like a longer exposure. You're exposing light longer. And that's when you can get those light trails at night. It's when you can capture like the motion of water flowing during the day. But you'll have to check out that section of the course because there's things you have to take into account when slowing down your shutter speed, because you're obviously letting in more light. And so if you're shooting during the day, then you'll have to block out more light, sometimes with a ND filter that goes on your lens that basically just darkens your lens. But yeah, check out that section. I love this photo. Another one of my favorites. Marguerite, thank you for sharing that one. Annette, 12 millimeter focus length, 12 millimeter focal length. This is a cool photo. I love the balance of it. I love the symmetry. It's just kind of like one of those like in the moment, here's the setting photos. The square crop actually works really cool with it. It's a touch greeny. I don't know if you boosted the saturation of greens or pushed the hue of greens towards green. If it might just be the way that it looks. There's a lot of plants going on, but it all kind of looks like it has the same hue to me, which can sometimes happen when you're editing, but I might just be reading into it, because if not, I love it. I love it. I love the framing of the grass, the focus on this fence. If I wanted to edit this even more, I'd probably remove those wires, which in Photoshop, there's like a really quick way to do that now. I have a tutorial on our Photoshop course and on YouTube, which you can watch for free on my channel. But yes, Mirella, I don't mind the questions. If anyone has questions, feel free to post them in the chat. Yeah, happy to help out. Oop, lost my screen. All right, let's see. Back at it. All right. Michael Graham. Porchfields Trim Ireland. This is another longer exposure, 30-second exposure. And sometimes you just have to expose for that long at nighttime to get the light of the stars. And this is a great example of a photo where it's not just the stars, it's not just at night, it's you're setting yourself up with a subject with this night sky. You have these like these are probably airplanes that are going by with the clouds. Gosh, what do you call those? The streaks from the airplanes. But you also get the bright lights from the city in the distance. You edited it, or it has the exposure, which you can see the details in these ruins and these buildings, which is cool. And it's a great use of a wide angle lens because you can see this whole scene. You get all these buildings with that big bright sky. So very cool photo. You see the little, is that the Little Dipper up there? Start to see some constellations. I don't have the full photo, but when you're shooting these night shots with stars, if you get to an exposure of 30 seconds, even 30 seconds or longer, you can start to actually see the contrails. Thank you, Eric. You can start to see a little bit of motion in those stars because the Earth is rotating so fast that you like actually don't get sharp stars. So you kind of have to balance the longest exposure that you can do to get light with wanting sharp stars. Cool photo though. Daniel, this is a photo that like I imagined for this challenge. Looking up at these buildings, you wouldn't get this type of shot with a non-wide angle. I love like the cleanliness of this with just the buildings cropping out or framing out anything down below. There's something weird going down here with this building. I don't know if you use some sort of remove thing in Lightroom or Photoshop or something. It looks like something didn't get removed properly, but just a cool photo. And I kind of like, for this one, I kind of like the neutral, non-contrasty edit. Vanish. Ooh, this is a cool photo. I didn't notice the people there. So this is a portion of bridge left when the rest of the bridge washed away. Where is this? This is just a cool framing. It almost looks like a movie. The Brahmaputra River looks like it goes along a few countries in Asia. I really love it. Oh man, I don't know what I would do with this. I was going to say that I kind of want to like see the I do. I kind of want to see the bottom of this pillar. And what you did is you used maybe this line of the bridge to have it more straight along the photo, but then the horizon is such at an angle, my head is kind of like tilting. And I kind of want to see what it would look like just with that horizon straight. Yeah, I think that's like the main thing about it. Otherwise, this is such a cool photo. The colors are really cool. The people on this bridge make it just like 10 times better storytelling than just the bridge by itself. They're going on this adventure, checking out this abandoned bridge. But seeing the bottom and seeing a little bit of the foreground in front of this bridge and straightening out that, I would like to see it straighten out because it's kind of cool that this bridge also kind of goes straight across the frame. Because if you straighten out the horizon, then the bridge goes like up more. So I don't know. I'd have to see it myself, but lovely photo. And I love the wide crops that everyone is posting too. All righty. Let's see. Mirella, you're on the hot seat now. All right, let me see the deets. Bedtime, before bedtime. This made me think of an escape room or the Museum of Illusions. Yeah, very cool. I love the cleanliness of it, the reflections you get from the ground, the leading lines into this bedroom that's brightly lit, helping you see that reflection. Nice photo. Maybe like this one would be a cool one just to have a wider aspect ratio crop where you just crop out part of the ceiling so that it's more centered vertically, this reflection. So like if this line right here along the floor was more like centered in the frame, maybe even cropping out this post right here on the left where you also see this door. I would love to see what that looks like. But such a creative way to take a photo here. I don't know if this is your house or not, but just like finding a place where you're at to take a cool photo, I really like it. And I actually like the exposure. I like the darkness with the bright room in the background. The only thing that would have made this super spooky is if like you or someone was like sitting on that bed silhouetted. Kind of scary. Very cool photo though. Jason Altman. Man, I love that we have students from all around the world. It's so amazing to see people's photos. This is from the Dominican. Nice edit with the colors that you chose. It's that like warmer, greener vibe going on. Very cool edit. Beautiful location with these hills, the green hills. I don't know what this building is. If it looks like an old-ish building, castle-esque building. Yeah, nice photo. I'm curious what's to the left. I'm curious what's to the right. But really, you just captured a nice photo of this setting, which I think works really nicely. I think I don't know if this is like a bridge that goes across the islands, which if that's the case, then you can't do anything about it. But like if it was like yeah, that's what it looks like. It doesn't look like it ends. So maybe a touch to the left just a little bit, just to see a little bit more of the details. But maybe you were cropping out something. So just a nice edit. Maybe boost the exposure just a little bit, but some people might not like the greenish warm edit to the colors, but I think it works for this photo. Like what you could do to really edit this photo and make it more magical is like do some sort of brush or linear edit where you're getting sort of like a ray of sunlight, just not like adding a ray of sunlight, but just creating a brighter highlight of like this cloud. See how you're just kind of highlighting how the light is already, but just brightening this part of the clouds onto this hill with the green. Like you could really make some of these green parts that are already highlighted by the sunlight pop a little bit more if you brought up the exposure even more for these and maybe warmed up the sky right here just to have this cool beam of light. But then you're getting into more like creative editing, which sometimes you just want it to look a little bit more natural, which it does, and it looks great. Ooh, David, this is a cool photo. I love that we got a photo like this, which is so different than the other ones, and a great use of the wide angle lens because you get to see the full singer posing, cool colors, and you just wouldn't get this with a non-wide angle lens. So really cool edit. I love the sort of HDR effect that you get with the way that the colors and the exposures are edited. And that microphone stand just like going from the bottom all the way up. It's cool. It does get that sort of warped feel. The edges are stretched, but I don't think it's bad. And I think it's a great photo. Like maybe you could have tilted down to the left just a little bit so she's framed a little bit more in the middle of the photo and not so much on the bottom. Like there's so much of the ceiling here that I could lose a little bit of that, but I don't know. I'm just being picky at that point. Look at her hair, like the moment, being able to see her face, her hair, really in the moment is very cool. Cesario. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name. This is a cool edit, very interesting edit, because the exposures are so dark on the left that it draws your eyes' attention to the right. I kind of want to be wider. I want to be backed up a little bit more to see, so that this, the leading line and the way this is edited, the lines of these umbrellas, the highlight is for my eye to go over to the right hand side, and I kind of want it to be like balanced out with a little bit of a line on the right hand side going down that way. But I don't know, it's a cool photo. I also kind of want to see a little bit more details over here, so it might be a little dark. I might just boost the exposures a little bit. It just feels a little unbalanced to me, but it's like so close. Oh, and this is downtown Redlands. Oh, I should go there. And speaking of that, in the future, we're gonna see. So I teased the Photo Dash challenge that I'm filming, and I'm going to be filming with Will coming up. But in the future, I would love to get some photo friends who want to do it together. So if you are a local photographer, before we go big and we can travel the world and have a huge budget, it would be fun to find some local photographers who don't mind going out filming themselves during these challenges. It'll make a lot more sense once we start releasing our videos, which we'll be doing in the next month. So yeah, cool photo. I'm gonna have to check out that location too. It looks very similar to the alleyway where I filmed my documentary with my friend Anthony Carbajal, who has ALS, but I don't remember these umbrellas. That might be something new, but same vibe. Cool. All right, Brian McCloskey, Appalachian Trail. Nice photo telling the story of this moment, probably taking a pause from this hike that you were on. I was gonna say, are these hiking poles out of focus or not? They're like a touch out of focus. I feel like maybe a little wider so you can see the whole hiking sticks resting on this could have been cool, but I would have to be there to see how I would have framed that. The colors of the greenery is very nice. I do kind of want to see more, like the details of this ledge, this rock. I kind of want to see more of those, because that to me is what's really interesting about this photo. It feels like you're sitting right there, but I also I love that this bird is right there and you're flying. You can see it flying by. This horizon line, it's like a little off. That just might be the way that the natural geography is, like the hill of this horizon, but maybe straighten that out could have helped a little bit, made it feel a little bit more balanced. But yeah, just a cool photo. It makes me feel like I'm there. That horizon gets really blue. I don't know if that's like something that would look better if you did like a linear gradient of the horizon and the sky and just warmed it up just a little bit. I would have to see it playing around in editing. And that's something I've thought about doing during these challenges. If I, really wanted to spend a couple hours here doing this, I would take some of these photos into editing and actually do what I'm saying, which would be kind of cool. Maybe I would like have to prep that. I could download everyone's photos, add your name to it, and just scroll through them in Lightroom and then just do quick edits. If you don't mind me doing that. I know some people don't like when other people edit their photos, but just another idea, if I had more time. Nancy posted this photo. This is a really cool photo. I think you could probably tell. I don't know. What do you think I'm going to say about this photo? I would love to see in the chat what you think I would say, or if you have feedback for this photo, because what I would do is center it. I feel like this palm tree has to be centered. It's a little touch to the left, or pushed it more to the left and made it more a rule of thirdsy. The sky, I think maybe is pushed a little bit too much with the dehaze. Excuse me. But I love the sunlight, the exposure, the colors of this palm tree is very cool. And the wide angle lens gets that perspective of being able to see the trunk close up to you. Cool photo. All right, moving along. We got Mercedes. Ooh, what? That is weird. It looks brighter here than when I open it. The raw image was very overexposed. You edit it in Darktable. That is weird. Why does it look brighter here than when I open it, right? Huh. That's not happening with all the photos. Yeah, no, there's something about that photo that's weird. I have no clue why that's doing that. It's cool that you silhouetted that tree. If this is what the photo looks like, now I'm kind of like worried about like if this is actually what the photo looks like or if it's something to do with me viewing it on Plus. But I want to see the foreground. I want to see the greens. I want to see these flowers. So brighten those up a bit. I maybe would have taken this photo at a little bit of a higher angle so that I can see more of the distance as well, more of these rolling hills in the background. It looks like there's like this rock here that might have some cool detail. So I would actually probably push the exposure back up a little bit from what it is here. Unless there was like, I think the opposite would have been cool if you can see more of like the distant hills exposed properly, framed by the silhouette of this tree, these rocks, and the foreground. But because the foreground grass takes up so much of the frame, almost like a third of the frame, I think it deserves to be seen. And so I kind of want that exposure to be a little bit up higher. Kind of like this. That is so strange how that's doing that. Alex posted this photo of this car. Cool. It looks like, you know, a car show or something like that. I would probably have like tried to pan just a little bit to the left, just a little bit. Maybe even got it down up, you know, down a little bit so the car almost looks bigger. But it's just kind of like a nice photo. But yeah, I think just the framing's a little bit off. Colors, nice clean edit, nice exposures, but maybe you could have just brightened up the front part, this grill, just to make it see, you could see a little bit more of those details. But otherwise pretty good. But yeah, I think the framing just like backed up, gone down a little bit, or like just something where I can see a little bit more space in front, like balance it out. So see how there's like a little bit of space in the back and then there's a tiny bit of space in the foreground. Just fix that up. All right, folks, I've been doing this for an hour. I'm getting a little bit tired. Gotta go get my second cup of coffee, but I don't want to drink another cup of coffee because I won't be able to sleep tonight. This is a cool castle, something like that. Donan Castle in Scotland with the iPhone 14. I like it. I kind of want, the street is cool. Yeah, I think the street is cool with this bridge where this wall is coming from the right side of the frame. I almost wonder what would have happened if you were standing almost closer to this wall on the right side, and then the castle. Like I want the castle to be a little bit more prominent somehow in this photo. How could we make that happen? Maybe there was a spot on this bridge where the leading lines of the walls on this bridge would lead your eye directly to this castle framed inside those leading lines. I think there's something about the balance of this composition that feels a tiny bit off, where like so much of the photo is this bridge and this wall, but really what I want to see is this castle
this like greenery, maybe more of the water, but then still have this bridge here with like being part of the frame, being a leading line in this frame. So I'm just thinking if you were standing to the right a little bit and this leading line of the wall was more just on the left side of the frame, could have helped a little bit, but I don't know. All these things, it takes being there, playing around with it. But it is a great use of the wide angle lens because you get to see the whole setting. And nice kind of flat edit. Just looks like it's maybe straight from camera even. Ooh, Thomas, this is a cool photo. Great framing of this sign in the reflection. Great moment with these people walking by. You probably waited for someone to be walking the frame to get this photo. That's really cool. The vignetting's a little bit much to me. I would probably back off the vignetting, especially because it kind of starts to darken the exposure over the sign up here. If anything, like you could have done, you could do a vignette, which might help the bottom part of the frame just by darkening these bottom corners, but not so much of the top. And maybe even cropping a little bit in on the right side so that it's more like framed just with the sign, this down at the bottom, and then like the people walking. That gets a little bit away from the wide angle challenge because you're cropping in a little bit. But I kind of want that to be like it to be a little bit more centered. Everything seems to be like on the left side of the frame a little bit, right? But such a cool photo. The colors are amazing. I'm wondering if you could have like, crouched down a little bit and gotten this puddle a little bit bigger in the frame and still gotten that same exact reflection. But man, so I'm just being super picky at this point. Very cool photo. Love the colors. Where is that? Stockholm, Sweden. I was like, Friday's American Bar and Cafe. It doesn't sound like something that is in the US, but it almost makes me think like of being in Chicago or something like that, but makes sense in Sweden. That's cool. All right, Bob. Way too cold. I was going to say, this does not look like Texas. Oahu, man. Makes me want to go back to Oahu. Lonely Road in Oahu. Very cool photo. Yes. Part of me wants you to be like back to the right a little bit so that like you see more of this coastline. I don't know if that was an option. Right now, like I think it's a great photo because these palm trees are a beautiful, great subject, but part of me thinks that it would have been cool to see more of the coastline with the waves, going down and more of the water, and this fence and the road could still be there potentially, or it could have been lost in the way you framed it, but still nice edit. I mean, again, getting rid of, if we're not doing the wide angle weekly challenge, cropping it with just the palm trees and then the ocean sky in the background would be cool too. But I see this is a road down here too. Yeah, I think I would be interested to see if you had that photo, if you took that photo too, just kind of closer to the edge of this road, maybe with the palm trees, but also this great sort of road going down the edge of the coast with the beaches, I think would be cool. All right, fly back to Oahu right now. It's too cold in Texas. All right, Carlos, getting to our last photos. This Cathedral Basilica, St. Augustine. I was going to say, this looks similar to like that other one, the way that the trees were lit up with all the lights. Cool photo. Yeah, this is just a really cool photo. I like the framing of the building. I like how these trees with the lights kind of frame it. It's a little greeny, like maybe play around with the white balance a little bit to yeah, it feels a little bit green overall. But otherwise, cool photo. All right, Mildred, camping trip, Lake Hartwell, shot on the iPhone, an older iPhone, and still a great photo. Yeah, cool photo. I think it's like just a nice photo of this campfire. It kind of has the whole setting, the whole vibe. The exposure of the background works with the fire in the foreground. It's like dark enough in the foreground that you get the details in the fire. Maybe I would have brightened up this a little bit just to see the details of like the coals and this like fire pit, but it's just kind of like a nice photo of the moment of the scene where you were at. Maybe could have tilted down a little bit, gotten closer to that fire. But I don't know. Cool photo. All right, Melissa. Ooh, this is cool. This reminds me a little bit of Marcel's photo. I think I love kind of like all the exposures that you see here, all the details, everything's pretty much in focus in the foreground. It looks like there's this bench here that this is one where it's this weird kind of line at the very bottom of the frame where I either want to see more of it or see less of it. So either crop that out or just have like backed up or tilted down just to see a little bit more of it. It is sharp in focus, and I think it kind of adds to the story of this location, and I think it adds to the photo rather than just seeing the trees. So I would probably widen out just a little bit, tilt down to see that. If you have that in your photo and you can crop it that way, I think that would be cool. But a really cool photo. I love all the textures of all the different plants that you see here. Hema Patel posted this Gold Coast photo from Australia, I believe. Very dark, ominous sky. Cool photo. I think it's a little dark, even with the dark clouds, like maybe boosting the exposure of like the sandy beach and the front part of the water would help a little bit. Maybe cropping out a little bit of the sky, having it more of like a super wide screen, wide panoramic photo would be kind of cool. And then maybe I would have seen what had happened if you warmed it up just a little bit. I mean, you could do a lot of creative stuff with this to make the water pop, make it brighter, push the blue, make it more teal. But that's more of a super creative edit, and it kind of just is a nice vibey photo of what it probably looked like on the day of. But I think just boost the saturate or the exposure of the bottom part of the frame and crop out a little bit of the sky. Although the way it's cropped is like it tells the story of like these clouds on this beach day, which is cool too. Tess, this is a cool photo. What was this shot with? Nikon ZF. That is a neat photo. What's the Nikon ZF? Oh, that's one of their newer mirrorless cameras. It looks like it was almost shot on film, and the focus is a little off. I don't know if it was on purpose, if it's a longer exposure or something. There's something going on where like it has this like softer, dreamy vibe, and it matches the colors that you've chosen. Everything's a little bit desaturated. It kind of has this like, gosh, what's that called? Now I'm losing my brain, where there's like the sliver of focus in here. Maybe you like added a little bit of blur to the bottom of it, which is kind of a cool look. It's just kind of a cool, dreamy photo. I like it. It's very soft. It totally looks like sort of like an effect you were going for with that soft, dreamy look. Could have boosted the exposure just a little bit, but otherwise a cool photo. All right, we got a few more.
All right, we got Hong Wang. This is a really cool photo. I think the white balance is just a little off. It looks way too magenta-y. So I think something got off. Unless that's the vibe you were going for, I would just fix that, and it's a pretty cool photo. Suzanne, what do I think of your wide angle photo? It's a cool photo. It's like a moment. It's a little bit off, like tilted. So I maybe like rotate it, or when you were taking a photo, try to straighten that out just a little bit. The super wide angle definitely starts to bend like people around the edges, which isn't necessarily a bad thing if that's like the style you're going for. I kind of wish that it was taken like a half second earlier, where this guy right here was more in frame and more the main focus. Like right now, everything is like, there's no one focal point of this photo. And so I kind of wish like there was like a moment where one of these people walking was like the main thing or person your eye was looking at. But it's kind of, I like that it's a wide photo. You get to see everything. You get to see the people in this parade or whatever is going on, also the people outside, and the whole setting as well. And the black and white edit looks cool. Todd, this is a really pretty photo. Yeah, really, really great photo. Great edit of the background to pull out detail in this mountain. Yeah, maybe a touch contrasty to me. Maybe like back off on the contrast a little bit. So that means boosting the darks and the shadows just a little bit. But man, what a great location. Great colors. Great use of a wide angle lens to capture this whole scene. Just very lovely. It's not perfectly centered, and I don't know. I don't mind that because you get to see like these other mountains over on the right-hand side. Like you could crop it in just a little bit, or pan to the left just a little bit so that the mountain was perfectly centered in the frame. Might feel a little bit more balanced. Does that make it better? I don't know. Not necessarily. Just lovely photo. Abhishek. So this was a shutter 1/13 of a second. So this is where that shutter, even just a little slower, a little longer exposure, you get to see the motion of the water here. It's just a nice photo. Yeah. The sky, I don't know. Did you like add some sort of gradient to the sky where it's like darkening it? I would probably just back that off. I don't mind if the sky was a little bit brighter here. It looks like there was something, yeah, like a sky selection, and then it got a little bit darker. Nah, otherwise I think it's just a nice photo. It's not as I don't know if it's the export or what, but was this shot with your phone? I can't tell, but it's like I lose a little bit of the details in this photo, and it could just be the export. Maybe tilting down just to see the full reflection of this fountain could have helped too. But I don't know. Cool photo. Harry Roberts. Wow, that's a cool photo. I would straighten out the horizon, but this is what a wide angle photo can show compared to a telephoto photo, where, yeah, it'd be cool to have a photo tight cropped in here of this giraffe with this beautiful sunset. You see some of the silhouetted plants around it, but also this wide shot tells a full story of where this giraffe is walking. I love the edit with the exposures where the giraffe is not fully underexposed. You can still see the details and the patterns in its fur. And yeah, just really cool. Like it looks like, there's maybe this path or this road where there's not as many rocks. could have like tilted up and had even more negative space, would have been kind of cool for this photo. But my main thing is just, I think the horizon is off just a little bit. So straighten that out. Whoa, Eric, this is a really cool photo and a great use of a wide angle lens. Not even talking about the star trails, but the wide angle lens to see the setting. Like, this photo just wouldn't be as interesting if all you saw was these star trails in the sky. Being able to see the foreground is pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, that's just a cool photo. Really, really cool. Impressive. And I think people like it. And then our last photo, David. Where is it? Is this like a mall or like a cruise ship or something? Oh, this is, yeah, shopping mall in Tokyo. Cool photo. It's something that bugs me is like this wall that's on the right hand side. Like, this might not be possible, but if there's like balconies on this thing, or if there was another place where everything was a little bit more centered and framed, where like these lines are more like going directly from each side, more symmetrical, I think it would have helped. Yeah, there's just something about the lines all being kind of slightly off that feels weird, and the exposure is pretty dark. I would have hoped you shot raw or increased the exposure when you were shooting this a little bit more. I don't know if it was this dark in person. It looks like it was shot at night, but still, just bringing up the exposures. Like, I feel like this could be such a cool photo if there was more balance and everything was kind of straightened out or something like that. Yeah, I think I want to see things straighten out, but the wide angle lens like allows you to see all these crazy leading lines from both sides of the frame. Cool. All right. So that is a wrap on the wide angle photo challenge. Thank you everyone who posted photos. It's time to go out and capture some motion in this week's motion challenge. Lots of options for capturing images sharp, adding some motion with a little bit of a longer exposure, like these two, capturing water with motion. So lots of cool ways to capture motion. And I'm excited to see what you decide to do with that. So yeah, happy, what day is it? January 28th. Excited to see what you post in the community this week. Keep being a wonderful part of the community. Keep answering people's questions, helping people out. You guys are all amazing at doing that. And stay tuned, because we are working on a lot of fun stuff. So the photography friend, or the photo dash challenge, which if you weren't part of last week's live stream, I'll just tease it again because I'm so excited about it. It's this card game, gamifying photography, which I'm trying to do. It's going to be new video series. First season is going to be me testing it out, seeing how the game mechanics work, going around running, trying to get great photos, and hopefully it'll be a little inspiring and fun to watch for you all. But this Saturday, I'm actually filming the first episode with Will. So the second season is going to be more of a competition between me and Will. So you're going to get to participate in voting for your favorite photos. It'll go through the season. It'll be just 3 episodes. And at the end, we'll crown whoever's the winner. And hopefully, if that works out well, we'll kind of expand it into inviting other photographers on, or expanding it to a longer season, or potentially in different locations. So stay tuned for that. And when that comes out, the best thing you can do is make sure that you like and comment and subscribe to the Photo Dash channel, because we're going to be separating it and putting it on its own YouTube channel, just so that's hopefully the YouTube algorithm will like that. But yeah, thank you, everyone. Thank you for all the supporters. We've gotten some more supporters in the group. I'll show you one other thing really quickly. If you do want to be a supporter, you can go to the Become a Supporter page. It really right now just helps with paying for the cost of the platform. We used to have enough members supporting us that paid for the cost of running the platform, but we're not there yet. Our supporters have kind of dropped. So any supporters, of course, buying our courses helps as well. But for $5 a month, it really helps us out. And another thing we're trying to do to incentivize being a supporter is making it a better deal. And so I'm actually in the process of adding some of our courses, our photo courses, to the Plus platform, and you'll get free access to those courses as a supporter, as well as when we do launch the Photo Dash series, doing some behind the scenes editing of our photos and things like that, that will only be exclusive to our supporters. So thank you to all the supporters who are supporters. If you want to be a supporter, we would truly appreciate that. Another thing I'll just mention too, just for people who are curious, one of the first questions was, how do I get my own deck of cards to play the game myself? I'm looking into that. There are some options where it's sort of like a print on demand, where we can you can buy a deck and it will print for you. The other option would be for me to do some sort of bulk print and then ship it out myself, which is a lot more work, and I'm not sure if I want to do that. But if anyone knows anything about print on demand card games and has insights into how that could work, or a good place to do that, send me a message, because I'd be curious to know. Because I think as soon as we start putting out the episodes of Photo Dash, people are going, I mean, people are already interested in the cards, and we haven't even released an episode yet. So I think there's going to be demand, and I would love to see if there was a way to get this deck in the hands of all of our photo friends who want to do it. So let me know if you have any insights on that. All right, we'll see you next week. I will be back, I'm sure. I don't know if I can keep doing all the photos, especially as we get more people submitting photos. I don't know. If you have ideas for that too, I think it either has to be some sort of randomly generated thing where I pick 10 photos to review or something like that. I would love to be able to review all of them. I think people, it seems like, really appreciate my thoughts, for what it's worth. So we'll see. As long as I can do it all within about an hour, I'll keep trying to do it every week the way that I've been doing it. So, and if you keep tuning in, it means that you appreciate the thoughts and you want me to keep doing it. So keep tuning in. I'll try to schedule next week's live session ahead of time, so you know it's on the calendar. And yeah, but Tuesdays are generally going to be the day that I think I do them, around this time. All right, much love. See you next time. Have a great week, everyone.